All right. Good morning, everyone. So thank you for logging on to this morning to attend the Expand Your Talent Pipeline webinar. My name is Danielle Sousa, and I'm a project associate with Valley Vision. And just before we get started, I just wanted to go over some quick housekeeping items. So one, please be aware that this webinar will be recorded. This connects to item 2, as the recording and the slide deck will be provided to all attendees after the webinar is over. And finally, we ask for all attendees to please submit their questions using Zoom's built-in Q&A function so that we can maintain a smooth flow for today's presentations. But for any general commentary and networking, we do encourage folks to please use the chat function so that y'all have an opportunity to make those connections with other attendees. For any other questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a great morning. And I'm going to pass it on to Renee John.
Thank you. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're very pleased that you could be here and that we could bring this webinar to you today. So you're here for the Expand Your Talent Pipeline webinar, co-hosted by Valley Vision and the Sacramento Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce. We recognize that the constraints of the current hiring environment are very difficult and wanted to bring some resources and organizations to you to share opportunities to help add to your talent pool and help offset the cost of training and onboarding new staff. Many of you are familiar with Valley Vision, but I'll just review quickly. We are a civic leadership organization serving the greater Sacramento region and the northern part of our state. We have several key areas of focus, which we call our impact areas. Workforce development is one of them, along with food and agriculture, clean economy, innovation and infrastructure, which focuses on broadband access and adoption, healthy communities, which is focused currently on housing issues, and leadership and civic engagement. Within these areas, we specialize in bringing diverse stakeholders together to solve complex problems. We conduct research on current issues and future work trends, and we work to align partners and systems to better serve the needs of our regional economy and drive community-wide prosperity. I'm joined today by Kyla Bryant and Madeline Barber of the Sacramento Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce, who are co-hosts, and I will have them do their introduction now.
Thank you so much, Renee, and thank you to all of you for participating in today's event. My name is Kyla Bryant, and I am the director of the Metro Business Center, which is part of the Sacramento Metro Chamber of Commerce. My colleague Maddie is on the session and will be able to answer any questions from the audience in the chat. For those of you who are not familiar with the Chamber, we advocate, support, and elevate the needs of the regional business community through our 4-point business promise initiatives: strong business, connected region, ready workforce, and vibrant community. In line with the Strong Business Initiative, the Metro Business Center focuses on delivering guidance, direction, and resources to small and mid-sized businesses through services including educational opportunities like this one today and individualized consulting. I also want to mention that in support of the Chamber's Ready Workforce efforts, the Metro Chamber Foundation team serves to create equitable paths to leadership, community engagement, and employment for people in business in the Capital Region. The foundation team administers programs like 1,000 Strong to shape the workforce of the future through collaboration with local businesses to create a pool of skilled, experienced young talent through paid youth employment. In 2021, the foundation team spearheaded the Talent Pulse survey to provide the region with insight on the drivers of our community's satisfaction and retention rates. As you can see, the workforce issues facing the region touch all mission areas of the Metro Chamber, and we are so excited to partner today with Valley Vision in showcasing opportunities employers have to shift their thinking and creatively address talent gaps and hiring needs. To get us started, we have Sacramento City Housing Manager, Danielle Foster, to share about the homeless hiring tax credit. As Danielle gets ready, I'll just share a little bit about her. In October of 2019, Danielle joined the City of Sacramento's team as their first housing policy manager. Over the last few years in this role, Ms. Foster has worked to support policies that streamline housing development and further workforce and affordable housing initiatives. Danielle holds a bachelor's in community and regional development from UC Davis and a master's in public administration from the USC Sacramento Center. Ms. Foster has been a Sacramento resident for over 15 years and is excited to serve her community in furthering the goals of housing and affordable housing production, working to ensure a safe and affordable place to live for all members of the community. Please welcome Danielle.
Thanks so much, and good morning, everybody. I'm really glad to be here to be able to talk about the state homeless hiring tax credit. If we could move on to the next slide. So just to provide an overview of the program, this is a new program that was put into place through an assembly bill. It's going to be a 5-year program through the State Franchise Tax Board. And there's the provision of a tax credit for any employer who hires under the program, and they can receive anywhere from $2,500 to $10,000 per employee based on the hours worked. There's a limit of $30,000 per employer per year. And the state is currently offering $30 million this first year, and they'll offer subsequent amounts in the years to come. And if there are tax credits that go unused that employers have claimed, they can also carry it over from year to year. So it's good to keep in mind that if you think someone's going to work a certain number of hours and they don't fulfill those hours, you can carry over the credit if it doesn't get fully utilized. Next slide, please. So in order for an employer to be eligible for the tax credit, they're already taking reservations, and I checked today, they're still taking reservations, but I do want to highlight it's on a first come, first served basis. So this program, it's important to sign up as soon as you know you want to access it and as soon as you have the information needed to make the reservation. But there's a requirement that within 30 days of completing the new hire reporting requirement that goes through EDD, that you make the reservation at the State Franchise Tax Board, and we'll have the website at the end of this presentation for you. The employers need to obtain what's called a homeless hire tax credit certificate from one of our nonprofits, or the city can help you, SETA can help you, we can help you connect to an organization that can help certify someone's homeless status, that they've either been homeless or are currently homeless or receiving services from a nonprofit as it meets the criteria of the program. And then employers must pay wages that are at least 120% or 20% above California minimum wage for the position they're hiring for. Next slide. Here's just the range of hours worked and the credits that can be applied based on how many hours a year the employee is working. Next slide, please. And then as far as employee eligibility goes, the employees are required to have a social security number. That's something important to highlight about the program. And as I mentioned, in order to qualify, they either need to be currently homeless or recently homeless within the last 180 days. Or be providing or receiving services from one of our homeless service providers. So one of those three things in order to qualify for the program. And then they get certified, as I mentioned, through that certificate. And those certificates are good for 1 year and are only required to be provided if the Franchise Tax Board audits the credit, audits the business. Otherwise, you just keep it on file and have it as backup documentation. Okay, next. So as I mentioned, the certifying organizations, it's really made up of our nonprofits in the community. We have what we call a Continuum of Care, which are all the jurisdictions, the cities, the county, and all of the organizations that respond to homelessness and housing needs. And so any of us can go into our system. We have a homeless management information system where we can look and see if someone has been homeless within the last 180 days and meets that criteria, or if they're currently receiving services. So again, if you get stuck with this, feel free to reach out. My contact information will be at the end of this presentation. And again, we also have our nonprofits can assist with this, as well as SETA and others that might be accessible for you to get some information from.
Thank you.
Was there a question, Renee?
No, sorry, I didn't know if that was your final slide. Thank you.
Oh, no, I think there's one more, maybe two more. So here's just a list of some of the referring organizations. I would highlight that the that our nonprofits and SETA do have employee training programs that could help identify potential employees that would meet these qualifications. So if you're looking for someone to hire that meets the qualifications, feel free to reach out to SETA or myself, and I can help connect you with an organization who has trained individuals. And then last slide. If you need more information, you can go to the Franchise Tax Board's website, and they have a question portal there. If you have questions you want to send directly to the state, you can also send questions to us at the City of Sacramento, either through our small business email or to myself directly. And this information is all on the slide here and will be provided to you. And I'm happy to take any questions there might be.
Thank you. Perfect. That's a lot of great information. It looks like we have a question. Is the program only offered through Sacramento County?
This program is being offered throughout the state. So any qualifying business throughout the state of California can apply and receive the tax credit. So that's why it's highly competitive. And if you're very interested in it, you should definitely pursue it as quickly as you can, as any business in the state of California can apply for that $30 million pot.
Perfect. It looks like we have an additional question from the Q&A. Danielle or Caitlin, can you read that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Susan Wheeler is asking, how are people certified to be homeless?
Yeah, great question. So there is a certificate online at the State Franchise Tax Board, and I can share it with anybody who would like it. And essentially just one of the qualifying organizations, so either one of the local nonprofits, the city, the county, SETA, any of us can certify that someone's homeless or has been homeless within that last 180 days or is receiving services from a qualifying organization. And that's the only certification that's necessary. And basically we fill out some information about the individual, just certifying that they do qualify, and we sign it, and that's all you have to keep for the certification piece.
I have a question, Danielle. Can a business go in and indicate that they may use the tax credit and then decide later that they don't use it, or is it sort of like a commitment once you go in and create the reservation?
So you don't have to use it, but they do ask some pretty specific information about the individual that you're hiring. So you would at least need to know who you're hiring at the point of making the reservation. That could change, and I think there's ability to carry it over. So if you don't end up using it, you could carry it into next calendar year. But they do ask some specific questions about who you're hiring, and that certificate is part of what's required with the reservation, saying that you have the certificate on hand.
Wonderful, thank you. Are there any other questions, Caitlin, in the Q&A?
No, looks like we are set for now, but yeah, continue to put those in the Q&A or have some commentary in the chat, and thanks for that participation.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Danielle. And I know that you'll be popping off early, so we have your contact information. It'll also be shared on the final slide, and all of these slides will be shared out to all participants and registrants. So continuing on, I want to introduce to you the panel that we have for you today. We have Carmen Meeks, who is the Workforce Education Coordinator with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. And she has over 25 years of workforce development and career coaching experience. She's studied at the UCLA Anderson School of Management and holds both a professional human resources certification and a New World of Work Train the Trainer certification. Carmen has a passion for both connecting people and supporting underserved and underprivileged youth. We also have Terry Carpenter, who is a workforce development manager for Sacramento Works Incorporated, the career and job training arm of the Sacramento Employment and Training Agency. She has over 25 years of experience in workforce development with hands-on experience working with employers to connect students, young adults, first-time job seekers, and career professionals to job opportunities. Terry currently manages the agency's talent development and sector employment and training initiatives, including the Grow Your Own Mental and Behavioral Health Talent Initiative, Innovative Pathways to Public Service, and Kaiser Permanente's Impact Hiring Initiative. Additionally, we have Spencer Hoke, who is a qualified rehabilitation professional with practical knowledge in one-on-one vocational rehabilitation and career counseling, providing counseling and guidance services to individuals across the disability spectrum. He's with the Department of Rehabilitation. In his current role as regional business specialist, he provides disability awareness training, resources, and general consulting to businesses inquiring about hiring individuals with disabilities, including reasonable accommodations, hiring practices, and guidance to creating inclusive workplace environments. And I want to thank each of our panelists for being with us today. We have a few questions that we're going to start with in guiding the panel discussion, but we do encourage questions from all in attendance. So if you have questions that you would like to have answered, put them in the Q&A. And as Caitlin said earlier, you can feel free to comment or network in the chat as we're going along as well. There's going to be some slides that are shared during some of the answers to the questions that we're posing, and all of that information will be shared out afterwards. So just so you don't feel like you have to take complete and copious notes, you'll be receiving the full slide deck. So the first question I have is to tell us about the primary populations you serve and give us a description of any services, resources, or incentives you can offer employers to assist in their hiring efforts. And Carmen, we'll start with you on this question.
Wonderful, thank you. And it's a privilege to be here with all of you. So the population that we serve are going to be youth who have been system impacted and have served time in the juvenile system. And these are young men and women. We also work with men and women who have been in the correctional facility. So anyone who's served time, whether at county jails or correctional facilities or juvenile systems, these would be the population that we serve.
Thank you, Carmen. And Terry, we'll ask you next if you could tell us about the primary populations that Sacramento Work serves and a description of services, resources, or incentives, please.
Forgot to unmute myself. Thank you, Renee. So SETA operates the Sacramento Works program. It's the workforce development program. We have job centers throughout Sacramento County. We operate youth programs, refugee services, community-based programs to help individuals with housing resources, public utility assistance. So the populations we serve are pretty much the most underserved that have high employment barriers. That would include individuals on public assistance, low-income individuals, those with basic skills deficiencies, high school dropouts, for example, low reading levels, that would be under that basic skills deficiency umbrella, veterans, disadvantaged youth, limited English proficiency, people with disabilities, justice involved, and anyone else who is looking for a better job, their first job, or a change in careers. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. And then I think there's some additional slides that you have there.
Oh, yes, next slide.
Okay.
Okay. So our annual impact on workforce development services, it's really important for us to note that over 90% of the individuals we serve have barriers to employment, and many of them have multiple barriers. But based on our program year 1920, we're a little bit behind in getting our figures from Department of Labor, for example. We served almost 50,000 individuals. And for every dollar that's invested, that SETA, Sacramento Works, invests in serving individuals to improve their work life, get them employment, provide them the training and the resources they need to be sustainable, we are $3.40 is generated in earnings and is brought back into our community. We had almost 65% of the individuals that we served were employed. And then this is, again, is based on 1920. Average earnings of those individuals we helped was about $36,000 a year. Thank you. So some of the services that we do provide to employers at no cost is we do job postings. Job postings are through CalJobs. We have an employment referral source of over 550 different organizations that include many community-based organizations, our community colleges, all our job centers, those who focus on employment services, the chambers, for example, Metro Chamber. And so those job opportunities are distributed through a network, also posted in the CalJobs system. And we also assist employers in, once that job posting is posted, we could screen for them. We review resumes. We screen the applicants. We also do customized recruitment events. So if you're an employer that's looking to hire 10 or more, we also do multiple industry job fairs where it's based on an industry, such as construction, for example, or healthcare. We have a really robust career fair platform called Talent Space, and it is so much easier to conduct a virtual career fair in this platform versus Zoom, because it's set up like you're actually entering a virtual booth for that employer. So we would love to share that service with the employers that in our community, and those on the call. If you have any interest in that, I hope you will reach out to us. Oh, I wasn't fit. Can we go back for 1 second? One thing I really wanted to stress was the last couple of things. We have an online training portal that has over 6,000 courses. As an employer, if you have an employee who is looking for certification in the Microsoft Office suite or project management, those are some of the courses that are free, no cost, by going on to our website, sacramentoworks.org, on the homepage, and you can access our online training portal. Lastly, on-the-job training is one of the best programs that offset the cost for employers of hiring a new employee. It is a hire first program. You hire them as your employee based on your job description and what you need. And then this program provides you with a 50% reimbursement, wage reimbursement for hiring that individual and training them for their job. The reimbursement period can be from 3 months to 6 months, depending on the job and the skill level that you're looking for. And we really feel that the on-the-job training program is one of the best resources for employers. And the individuals that are eligible for hire that would incur that hiring reimbursement could be ex-offenders, those laid off, those impacted by COVID, veterans, refugees, individuals with disabilities. And so there is a wide variety of populations, our workers in our community, that can satisfy this requirement and be a great employee for you to hire to take advantage of this program. Next slide. So what better way to showcase the impact of our services in helping employers is basically by employers that have said, hey, this worked for us, we would use Sacramento Works again. This gentleman works for New Life Electronics, and he's touting the on-the-job training program. This particular program gave him 75% of his wages reimbursed for 9 to 10 weeks in hiring an individual from our programs. Next slide.
I think that's what we have for you. Thanks so much, Terry.
Thank you.
And Spencer, we want to ask you the same question about Department of Rehabilitation. If you can give us a description about the populations that you serve and the description of the services, resources, and any incentives you have for employers to assist in their hiring efforts.
I appreciate that. I first want to address the folks in the chat. DOR staff, let me just get a shout out here. Put your name, your contact information so that we know who's here. I know this is such a great opportunity to be partnering with our other local partners. But I just want to make sure that this networking, as Renee, as you mentioned before, we continue to network. This is very exciting. So thank you, Carmen, Terry, thanks for doing such a great job. Let me follow that up. My goodness. Department of Rehabilitation, our goal is creating opportunities for individuals with disability. Employment is our focus, but there's a lot of different areas that we want to support individuals across their opportunities to gain employment and to build a better life for themselves. So just to cover on some of the individuals we collaborate with or support, we have students, we have youth, we have individuals with disabilities, including veterans. Our ages start between 16, and we don't really have an ending point. If individuals are working, we're going to have that opportunity to provide career counseling and guidance to help them understand what options there are out there and support them to create the opportunities that they want to create through their informed choice to find gainful employment. So some of the things that we participate with or provide are creating opportunities to make more diverse business cultures. And so some of the things we look at here are no-cost disability awareness training. So our team, the regional business specialist teams across the state, we help with a lot of different disability and awareness trainings, but we also have a great team in our central office who will provide those as well. So all the slides have links to where you'll be able to link up and find out more information about these. Some other programs that we have are hot jobs. So if we have employers who are looking to get the information out on jobs, connecting with hot jobs will allow you to get your information out there. And it also shares that you're an employer looking to hire inclusively hire individuals with disabilities. Could be students, youth, veterans. Talent acquisition portal is another opportunity we have for sharing individuals, job leads and opportunities, and also tax benefits and hiring incentives. And I'm going to touch on a couple of those incentives real quick. Next slide. So a lot of the training subsidies, a lot of the incentives we can offer. Terry brought up OJT, and I'm glad she said that's one of the most important things we have to offer. The Department of Rehabilitation also has an OJT option, and it differs a little bit from what SETA offers. And so that's what's great, this partnership to be able to collaborate with both businesses, both providers. Ours is specific to the training cost, not the wage. And so one thing that we would do, and it's very specific, there's a lot of numbers that I could have put out here, but what it boils down to is Department of Rehab, we're very specific to the individuals that we're serving. So that OJT will be specific to what the employer's needs are, what the training needs are for that individual. The goal is that the consumer, the participant, the job seeker, is able to get hired and stay on with that employee. So to echo everything that Terry had mentioned with OJT, we would do the same, but on the training portion of that. So, next slide. And then the WOTC, the Work Opportunity Tax Credit. So some of the ones that would fall under us would be an individual with a disability, qualified veterans, individuals who are ex-felons. Those would fall under the WOTC. And so the Department of Rehabilitation, we would fall under the specific vocational rehabilitation referral. And so these are some of the ways that individuals could be referred over. We work in partnership with Department of Labor, EDD on the WOTC as well. So this would be another incentive that we can help support businesses and connect them to this information. Next slide. Thank you. Small businesses. So this is exciting. There's a lot of opportunities when it comes to small business disability access credits. And so I've got the information in here that talks about the annual tax credit. There's a slide that will specifically cover what those incentives look like. But if you move to the next one, I've given a couple bullet points on some of those specific expenses that are covered. So it could be a sign language interpreter. It could be not all, it's not a menu, it's just options that could be considered as, if needed, as these tax credits. Could be a reader for an employer or a customer who has a visual impairment. So keep in mind, it's for our job seekers that we're working with, but also our employers can benefit from this as well. Adaptive equipment, materials for print as needed, the removal of barriers, buildings, vehicles, and fees for consulting services. And so there's many more. I left the link down there on the bottom. I know we're going to send out the slides, and I knew we wanted to be brief on these. So you'll have those links, but you'll also have our contact information as well. And now that everybody's put their contact information in the chat, anyone that's connected to DOR, I encourage you to reach out to them and ask those questions. Maybe another slide?
I think that is it. So yeah, perfect. Thank you, Spencer. And I'm hearing some consistent themes here, which are on the job training or subsidized employment, as well as the work opportunity tax credit. So if you're an employer that hasn't taken advantage of some of these opportunities to offset the cost of hiring or expanding your talent pool. And that's really what this webinar is about, to give you some information to get started. And then the Metro Chamber team that's on this call is available to provide technical assistance after, because we know some of those can seem like complicated processes, but just sort of to encourage and help you connect along the way. I do want to briefly go back to, there was a second slide for the Anti-Recidivism Coalition we kind of went through quickly, and give Carmen a minute to speak to the benefits of fair chance hiring. So Carmen.
Thank you so much, Renee. I was wondering what happened, but that's okay, right? But Terry and Spencer already really covered so many great benefits. And so as you can see, some of our own benefits is echoing what they just shared. So hiring skilled and educated workforce, right? That's definitely a good benefit. Good performance on the job, because a lot of our members are also part of SETA. They're also part of the Department of Rehab. And obviously, when they're coming to us, we're following them through educational opportunities like Sac City, Sac State. And so you know you're getting talent that is educated and ready to go to work. If you hire them, you're going to get company loyalty, retention, which is something that costs employers a lot of money. So why not? A large pool. I hear a lot of employers that we work with stating, Carmen, we need more people, we need more people. Well, here's your chance to work with a large pool of people that's not tapped into. Work tax credits, so WOTC, Terry and Spencer already mentioned that, so know that that's a benefit. A lot of employers are not taking advantage of that. Employment promotes public safety and quality of life. The number one reason people go back to jail or recidivize is because they're not employed. So let's make our communities safer for everybody. It promotes economy. And of course, it creates diversity and inclusion. And one of the things and the benefit that I also wanted to mention that's not here is that right now we're looking for employers who want to be part of our work experience. And what that means to you is ARC is looking for employers who want to hire our members, the ages between 18 and 26. These are young adult males and females. And we are willing to pay 50% of their salary for up to 3 months. What an amazing opportunity. What an amazing benefit. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. And yes, that is subsidized employment. That's the benefit of hiring. One of the benefits of hiring from priority populations, besides all of what you've mentioned already, Carmen, is there's some financial offset to that. It looks like we do have a question for Spencer that came in. Caitlin, do you want to read that to us?
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like from Michael Bell, looking for clarification on the training cost for the DOR on the job training program. I thought I heard the funds focus on the training cost. Does that include the time and materials invested by the employer to provide formal on-the-job training, or cost of on-the-job training instructor, et cetera?
Yeah, good question. So an example, just to give an example of how we've done this in the past, I set up an OJT with a trucking company, and they were looking for drivers. What we did is we set up a meeting so that we could all come together and discuss what were the training expectations. So we created somewhat of a contract with the training information that was there, what was expected, how many hours would be expected on that training, and based on those expectations, we were able to determine the reimbursement and training for those specific training and provisions that were provided for that individual. So again, it's challenging because it is a specific, very specific to individuals. And to be more, we would love to sit down and have that conversation on exactly what that looks like. It's challenging because when we start bringing in figures and funds into it, then I think a lot of times folks are like, okay, well, that's exactly what it is. And we just want to make sure it's clear that it's discussable. I mean, you may have an individual that is needing to be trained on information that might be more challenging than maybe a stocking or answering the phone or customer service. They might be a more challenging position, and so they may require more time for that training.
Thank you, Spencer. So it sounds like the subsidized portion, or the training duration or employment duration that's subsidized, is determined by both kind of the complexity of the job and the skill level or potential special needs of the person going into it. So that's why there's not this one size fits all. It's going to be this for every single person. It's kind of That's why the individual consulting and conversations are necessary with employers, is what I'm gathering.
That's exactly right. And the great thing about this is a whole process. We have our counselors, rehabilitation counselors. Is that me? Am I picking up?
You're a little bit soft there. Yeah, gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
So our rehabilitation counselors, our business specialist team, and the employers will come in. So there's a team effort. So supporting those individuals across the way. But yes, that you summarized that correctly. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So our next question is to tell us about the process for utilizing your services and an example of a partnership that went well. So an employer or organization that you worked with and an example of when it worked well, what the process was and how they utilized it. Terry, can we start with you on this one?
So can you repeat the question again, Renee?
Yes. Tell us about the process for using the services that you outlined and give us an example of a partnership that worked well.
Okay.
An organization or employer that used those services and it worked well.
Well, we had, you know, the employer testimonial on there, of course, to take advantage of the OJT. Our employers are our partners. We work with them closely to make sure that we're providing the services they need. One partnership that I can talk about is that we have partnered with Kaiser Permanente, and we'll be doing a high impact hiring initiative. They really want to reach out to the community to offer access and equity to those who may not be able to compete and participate in the Kaiser's online application process, which is very complicated. And we're talking about developing processes that will be easier. We're going to be providing job seekers personalized service to where they can apply for the positions, prepare them for the minimum qualifications that Kaiser's looking for. And the two categories that they're focusing on is the environmental services position and then the medical assistance and pharmacy tech position. So we feel this is a great opportunity. This is a new initiative that has not been launched. We're getting ready to launch. That's a great example, I believe, of an employer and a public-private partnership where we can bring those resources to the employer to help them solve their workforce challenges. Partnering with the employers on all types of different, we partnered with PG&E, we partnered with SMUD, for example, where for any of their hiring initiatives, and we also support their summer high school internship program, for example, and preparing those young people to get real world experience. We work with the Mobility Center, Michael Bell and Susan Wheeler, and the Sustainable Communities Initiative with SMUD, really just providing partnerships to increase access to those individuals that don't always have those opportunities and actually need that step up so that it is equitable so that they can have the same opportunities. That's the focus of the partnerships that we develop with employers.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Carmen, can you give us an example of, the process for utilizing your services, an example of a partnership with an employer organization that worked well?
Thank you. Yes. So super easy. If you're looking for talent, all you have to do is send me an email or call me, and my contact information will be provided on this presentation. It's that simple. I have over 25 years of experience. I work as a recruiter. I will definitely match up the best candidate. I'm not going to just send you someone that, as a staffing industry or, as a recruiter that's going to, have a heartbeat. No, we definitely want to make sure that we're sending you someone that's qualified. And so all you have to do is send me an email or call me. In terms of partnerships, it's so difficult to really pick one, so I'm going to have to pick two. Number one is Valera. They are amazing. They've created such a robust program. And the reason it works is because they really do this supporting role where the recruiter spends some time with the individual. They provide feedback. So it's a very transparent relationship. There's a lot of communication that happens between myself and the recruiter. Once they get hired, they're assigned a career coach that's walking alongside of them, right? Watching them develop, watching them learn. And so they're able to provide that information back to me. So it is a true partnership we get in front of any potential issues. So again, it's a weekly phone call. How is this person doing? And we're moving that individual together, learning these skills, not just the hard skills, but the soft skills. And again, getting really in front of any potential red flags that may occur and having those very transparent conversations about what issues may arise. The other one that I have to mention is NBC. Yes, they're not located here, but we do are able to provide internships for our members. And their program is amazing. Same thing, the recruiter provides me feedback. They assign a mentor. I check in with our members weekly to make sure they're progressing in their internship. So again, I think, and I'm moving on to really question number 3 is transparency, communication, collaboration, and really making sure that it's almost a triage sort of support where I'm working with HR, I'm working with a recruiter, they're working with our life coaches here at ARC, and then they're also working with me. And so as a community, we're moving that person along so they can be successful and stay and do well in their jobs.
Thank you. Thanks very much for that. Spencer, I'm going to ask you the same question. We went into this a little bit, I think, already, but the process for utilizing the services and an example of a partnership that worked well with an employer or organization.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate that. So I think the biggest thing that to contact us, a lot of times we would send out our information on our website. Our workforce development team is across the state, overviewing or supporting and providing connections to where those individual employers need to the appropriate connections. But I think the big thing, a lot of the folks that added their information in the chat and many others, you can connect out to any of us. So for an employer to reach out, I'm going to give an example of an employer that we work really closely with the state of California. We're excited. We are the state of California, so we get to come in and do a lot of trainings, awareness trainings, and other opportunities to help them create a more inclusive environment. But the smaller private companies is where we get a lot of folks to reach out to us. And that's a lot of times when we see those OJTs and some of those other incentives being utilized. We worked with a small construction company who was looking for an office lead, an administrative lead in their office. They couldn't fill that position. It's those hard to find positions. And so a lot of times we're reaching out, what are those pains? What are those pain points in your business, and how can we help you fill those? And I think by that, we build that relationship by helping them know that we have this resource. So an individual went in, I love everything everybody else said. I just kind of want to echo along with that. We will support. We don't just drop an individual off into that employer's lap and say, good, well, now you've got an employer. Hopefully you can figure this out. We stay there. It's either going to be collaboration in person through not social media, of course, but email, reports that are going back and forth to make sure everybody's on the same page and the awareness of what services are being provided and how we can continue to support. Those are a part of that. And so,
thank you. Sounds like the ongoing career coaching from your organizations in conjunction with the support that they receive on the job is kind of the best match for success for these populations. And so just kind of going into the next question, Spencer, I'll start with you since we were just already talking. What can employers do to prepare their work environments to be more welcoming and supportive to referrals from Department of Rehabilitation?
Okay, so anyone on the call or anyone who's connected with me, this is where I get excited. And so I'm going to kind of keep my calm down a little bit. But I think the biggest thing, and all of us are probably in the same place, it's that awareness. It's being open to serving the individual. We're serving, supporting individuals with disabilities. And I think a lot of times we hear the word disability and we just don't know what to think. You have so many different options, so many things that could come from what we know, what we think we know. For the folks out there who do windmills trainings, that was a shout out. But just want to say, be open-minded, be available to, maybe changes happen. Maybe it becomes a thing where an area needs to be changed, or a document needs to be changed, or even the way that we communicate with individuals, maybe not change, but being considered, being open to change opportunities. I think the biggest thing is reach out. Let us come in and do disability awareness. Let us be a part of what you're doing. Follow us on social media. See the things that we're putting out there so that you can learn how to create a more inclusive, diverse, and equitable or equal platform for all of our businesses and partners out there.
Thank you. Carmen, specifically for I think you're calling them members that you work with, what can employers do to prepare their work environments to be more welcoming and supportive for possible referrals from ARC?
Absolutely. I think I sort of answered the question earlier, and that's really just being open-minded. As people are interviewing and they get a job offer, they obviously are getting a job offer because they're qualified. And so it's really, if there's any questions about what may be in someone's background, is having a conversation with myself to try to understand what that person's done maybe to rehabilitate themselves. And so again, it's just having these super transparent conversations. And I'm completely open that if you want to talk to me and you want to talk to one of our employers that has already a program set in place and you're curious about it, please reach out, and I would be more than happy to create and do an introduction so that you can hear what they've done, right? What process they put in place, what people are doing in those places to have a more welcoming environment for the people that are getting into this workforce. And so I think it's just knowledge is power. If you don't know and you're sort of still a little leery about hiring someone with a criminal background, reach out. I may be able to connect you again with someone that's already doing it, and you can kind of learn from what they're doing and why they're being successful in changing their sort of hiring processes.
Thank you. I think that's a great point too, because I think sometimes we think of as employers, well, if I call and ask a question, or if I touch this, I'm committed to it. And it doesn't really work that way. So it is possible to have a conversation with any one of the panelists, even explore opportunities, go so far as even to interview and still not choose that individual. So it's not like you are immediately committed. It's a process of the applicants, I believe, also interviewing and earning the job through the interview process. And so even including them in your talent pool can be helpful in just the process of going through the interview process, finding out what they do well, what they didn't do well. So I just want to kind of clarify that for any employers on the line. And then Terry, wanted to ask you the same question. From your experience, what can employers do to better prepare their work environments to be welcoming and supportive for referrals from Sacramento Works?
I echo everything that Carmen and Spencer have said. So, but in addition they should be treated like all the other employees that they bring on board. They need to keep an open mind, and mentorship is always great. Even to me, any new employee can benefit from having a mentor, someone they can go to ask questions, feel more comfortable, feel to get acclimated to the workplace. Keeping an open mind was said, and just really realizing that there's not a norm anymore. Is it the new norm? I even, don't even know if that's really true anymore. What is norm? But the bottom line is we have to, in this new workforce environment and the different dynamics that are going on right now in the workplace, we need to look at all opportunities. And many of the individuals that we have been talking to are the most dedicated, will be committed to your organization, and will stick with you. And they were looking for someone where they can belong and move up in a career opportunity. And as far as I'm concerned, they're the best kept secret in the talent pool that we have out there.
Thank you. We can definitely hear the passion from all three of you. I think that's great. I think we do have a question or two that has been brought up from the audience. So Caitlin, I'll have you bring those forward.
Yeah, absolutely. First, again, for Department of Rehabilitation and for other programs as well, is there an option to have a multiple employer contract or MOU similar to the ETP funding program? There are many entry-level roles like assembler and material handler in manufacturing that require the same set of skills.
Sure. Yes, exactly. I was trying to find the question just so I could follow along with it. Was that in the Q&A?
I think it's in the answered, because I wrote back. It's from Mike Bell's second question there.
Okay, yeah, yes, definitely. That is to create those opportunities, those contracts and connection. We have several of those, and there's really I think the biggest thing is having that conversation. And so yeah, put your information out there. Let us know. that might be a good thing to bring together. And when we do our meetings, to have that conversation and invite the employers back in to let them know what those look like through DOR.
Thank you. Caitlin, is there another question?
Yeah, I think just one more here for Terry Carpenter in regards to our Yuba City, Chico, Woodland, and other clients that the DOR serves. If they're interested in applying with Kaiser, how would you recommend our offices connect with our interested clients?
So I would really love for your staff to send me an email. We haven't launched the initiative, and we want to make sure that we get that information to you so that your customers and the clients that you're working with can access that. So my first step would be email me so I can reach out to you, and then we can make sure that you are always included in the information of the recruitment when we launch the Kaiser initiative so that you have access for your customers. I'll put my email in the chat.
Okay, perfect. It'll be on our final slide as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we've been hearing a lot of information, so I want to hand it over to Kyla now to share about services that the Metro Chamber can offer that might be able to help shepherd businesses through this process. So Kyla.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Renee. And I see Maddie here on screen as well. Feel free to chime in if I miss anything. But from the Metro Business Center standpoint, we're here to definitely support small businesses who are maybe kind of considering the programs they just heard about today. You know, it can feel a little bit overwhelming, and trying to make those decisions and having the space and the time to do so. Sometimes the small business needs that support. I'm so glad to hear that each of these organizations provide that coaching to the employers, but we also do that as well. So if you are kind of considering and thinking of how will this fit into my business, you can always reach out to us. I know we'll have our information here at the end slide as well, to just even talk through, hey, maybe I'm not even ready quite yet to hire, but I want to get there. And we can also address those needs as well. I'm really excited and really glad that we've been able to partner on this information. I used to work more directly with workforce development and initiatives like these. And so it's very timely, I think, and exciting to bring in also the smaller business employers into this conversation and seeing how they can also take advantage of these different initiatives, incentives, and resources that are available.
Thank you, Kyla and Maddie, appreciate it. We heard a lot about mentoring, it seemed like, in different aspects today. I wanted to just share that, you know, Valley Vision at one point was looking at the trajectory of when we hire new project associates and what works well and maybe what doesn't work as well when we're hiring new entry-level staff, and decided to take a mentoring approach, which I think other businesses do as well. I think Smeta is on this call, and they're definitely a leader in that, as is Valara that was mentioned. So that's another, you know, another way to consider supporting new staff that are coming in, especially when you're hiring from priority populations or individuals that may need a little additional support. It really helps with, we actually track the data on it. It helps with employee retention and satisfaction. And there's a lot of studies out there that also support that. So just a shout out for mentoring, even though it's not National Mentoring Month. I wanted to put that out there. I do want to thank everyone who is in attendance today and encourage you to fill out a survey. In just a couple of minutes, a survey is going to pop up in your browser as we close out this event. It'd be really helpful for us to learn what you liked about this event and what you didn't. And if there are any additional topics that we can support you with. So if you can take a few minutes to fill out that survey, we would be grateful. If you miss it when it pops up in your browser, you'll also be receiving it by email along with the slides and a link to this recording. So if you know of other individuals or organizations that could benefit from hearing what you heard today, we welcome you sharing out these materials widely. And we hope that you found something of benefit today. We look forward to bringing additional webinars to you based on the survey results. So thank you so much for your time today. And we look forward to more opportunities to connect and support each other in this very challenging talent hiring environment. So have a great Friday, everyone.